IR teams today are feeling pressure really for two reasons. One is the macro environment. So there's a lot of uncertainty. That's leading to LPs asking questions, digging into the portfolio, wanting to understand trends, wanting to understand impact, and needing answers quickly. The other one is fundraising, which is nothing new, but most firms are now perpetually fundraising. They've got multiple strategies in the market. So the ability to update materials, respond quickly, and just basically constantly being under pressure to get those materials updated. I think operationally, the trap that we see IR teams falling into is really that they can't scale and they're inefficient at material production. They cannot press a button and get a result. And that's for a couple of reasons. One is maybe there isn't the technology in place to take data from multiple sources and actually just feed that into an output. The other one is usually data quality, in that maybe teams upstream aren't capturing good data, which is forcing IR teams to then modify that data, change it last minute at runtime. That's taking more time, more energy, and basically making the process more manual than it needs to be. So to add to that challenge, most firms are now raising multiple strategies at once. So what used to work for one fund with lots of manual input that had to be done, say, once a quarter, or even maybe just a couple of times a year, now has to be done quarterly, monthly, or event triggered, but it has to run for multiple strategies. So if you're not able to press a button and get these reports out, the only way to answer that problem is putting more staff behind it, putting more hours in, and we know that that's not scalable or efficient. So leading firms are solving this problem through a combination of tech and process, right? So you need technology in place in that you need to have core systems. So I'm talking about CRM systems, portfolio monitoring tools, fund accounting data. You need to have that in place. You need to know that data is controlled at source, it's accurate. That data then needs to flow into a data platform. That data platform needs to be able to ingest quickly, it needs to be able to normalize data, and it needs to be able to press a button and create standardized reports. So the process is around controlling, the process is around flowing into a central platform, and then it's really self-servicing. It's letting IR teams get that data themselves, not have to go and ask individual teams. And if there's updates, last minute changes, you're making them in the source and you're flowing it back through to the report. You're not editing those reports at runtime. So self-servicing of data is really important, particularly as firms are growing globally. They've got multiple strategies. You need to have an IR team that's not dependent on someone in a different time zone, different part of the world. They can get that answer now and they know it's correct. There's no reconciliation, the data's been controlled at source, they can use it in reports. So by having a data platform in place and having push button reporting, you can now spend your time on value add activities. You're not reconciling data, you're not manually cobbling together spreadsheets. You're actually thinking about the questions that the LP is asking, and you're thinking about the narrative, the story that you want to tell based on that data. So by being more efficient in the day-to-day operations and what you're doing around fundraising support, you can put more effort into bespoke queries. So rather than say no because you don't have the data, you haven't got something created, put the effort in once, build a report out of your data platform, and know that you can use that every time thereafter. I think if you're starting your transformation, the first thing to think about is roles and responsibilities. So who in the IR team is really supporting the investor servicing? Who knows the data? Who knows the technology? Who knows how to get the answers? The second thing is to then think about the controls upstream, making sure that core technology is working. And if all that's in place, then you can start to think about data platform and you can think about funneling that data to one place to enable that self-servicing.